The last signal. The Confederation's Grand Assembly Hall fell silent as Admiral Zixtel activated the holographic display. The mysterious signal that had triggered every deep space sensor in the quadrant now pulsed before them, its signature unlike anything their civilization had encountered in 10,000 years of space exploration. 3 hours ago, this signal emerged from the void between the Carina and Sagittarius arms. Zixtel announced, her crystalline form refracting the hologram's light. Its origin, Earth. Murmurs rippled through the assembled representatives of the 100 spacefaring species. Earth, a name that carried the weight of legend and tragedy. 3 centuries ago, the planet had vanished behind an impenetrable quantum barrier during humanity's first attempts at faster-than-light travel. The barrier had collapsed 2 decades later, revealing only ruins and radiation. The galaxy had written humanity off as another failed species. Impossible, declared High Counselor Venra, his tentacles writhing in agitation. Our probes confirmed the extinction of human civilization. This must be an echo, a technological ghost. The signal is active and evolving. Zixtel countered, manipulating the display to show the transmission's complex patterns. And it carries a message in perfect modern standard. The current diplomatic language of the Confederation. The message materialized before them. To all who receive this, humanity endures. We bring warning of what follows. Clear a path. Before anyone could respond, the sensors blared again. A ship had appeared at the edge of Confederate space, a vessel of impossible proportions. Its hull bore the scars of centuries, yet it moved with the precision of the most advanced Confederate ships. Energy readings from its core defied known physics. By the ancestral void, whispered Science Director Krelix, his exoskeleton plates clicking in distress. The power signature, it's operating on principles we theorized but never achieved. Quantum displacement drive, gravity manipulation beyond our capabilities. The ship's designation flashed across their screens. TSV Phoenix AC and Deant. We're being hailed, announced the communications officer. The transmission origin is human. Living humans. Admiral Zixtel straightened, her crystalline form acquiring the deep blue hue of serious deliberation. Open the channel. The hologram shifted, revealing the bridge of the human vessel. The assembled aliens fell silent at the sight of the crew. Humans, but not quite as historical records depicted them. Subtle technological augmentations were visible beneath their skin, their eyes holding an unnatural gleam. The captain stood from her command chair, her movements fluid despite the visible weight of centuries. I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Phoenix Ascendant, she announced, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had witnessed the unimaginable. We represent the last unified fleet of humanity. For 300 years, we have traversed the dark spaces between galaxies, perfecting technologies you deemed impossible, preparing for what comes next. What comes next? Venra demanded. What could drive your species to such extremes? Chen's augmented eyes flickered with ancient knowledge. The barrier that consumed Earth wasn't an accident. It was a warning shot. The first attack in a war you don't yet know you're fighting. The Void Hunters are coming, and they've had 3 centuries to perfect their approach, since they failed to eliminate us completely. The assembly erupted in chaos, but Chen's voice cut through the din. We didn't come to beg for sanctuary or to reminisce about our lost home. We came to prepare you. Humanity learned to survive in the spaces between spaces, to bend physics beyond its breaking point, to become something more than we were. Now we offer you a choice. Stand with us against what's coming, or stand aside. Admiral Zixtel moved closer to the hologram, studying the human captain with all 4 of her sensory clusters. You speak of threats and choices, Captain Chen, but you must understand our skepticism. Humanity was considered extinct, and now you return with technology that shouldn't exist, warning of enemies we've never seen. We understand perfectly, Admiral, Chen replied, a grim smile playing across her features. That's why we brought proof. Permission to transmit data packet. Zixtel glanced at the science director, who nodded reluctantly. Granted. The data streamed into the Confederation's systems, detailed scans of vast structures moving between galaxies, energy signatures that dwarf supernovas, and recordings of battles fought with weapons that bent space-time itself. The evidence was irrefutable and terrifying. The Void Hunters will reach Confederate space in less than a standard year, Chen continued. They've already consumed 3 satellite galaxies, converting all matter and energy into their biomechanical forms. Earth was their test run. They wanted to see how an emerging civilization would respond to their quantum barrier technology. What they didn't expect was for some of us to escape, to learn, to evolve. The assembly hall had grown deathly quiet as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had transformed themselves into something new, spending centuries preparing for a war that the Confederation didn't even know was coming. Captain Chen's next words would set the course for the galaxy's future. We offer our knowledge, our technology, and our experience. The choice is yours, but know this: humanity remembers who stood with us when the darkness came calling. Legacy of Steel. The Phoenix Ascendant's engineering bay hummed with energies that made the Confederate scientists' instruments struggle to maintain calibration. Dr. Krelix moved cautiously through the space, his sensor arrays overwhelmed by the quantum matrices that seemed to defy fundamental laws of physics. The core principles are deceptively simple, explained Dr. Maya Rodriguez, the ship's chief engineer. Her neural augments flickered as she interfaced directly with the ship's systems. We learned to manipulate quantum fields at their most fundamental level. The void between galaxies taught us that space itself is merely a suggestion. The human engineer pressed her palm against a nearby console, and the ship's schematics bloomed in the air around them. The Confederate delegation watched in stunned silence as layers of impossible technology revealed themselves. The Phoenix wasn't just a ship. It was a testament to human ingenuity pushed beyond all rational limits. 300 years ago, when the Void Hunters targeted Earth, they assumed their quantum barrier would either destroy us or contain us until we expired. Rodriguez continued. Instead, it forced us to evolve. The barrier became our laboratory, and desperation became our greatest teacher. Krelix's analytical mind raced to process what he was seeing. These power signatures, you're not just bending space. You're rewriting local physics. Necessity is the mother of invention. Rodriguez smiled, though it didn't reach her augmented eyes. When conventional physics becomes a barrier, you learn to negotiate with reality itself. Every survivor of Earth carried this drive. To understand, to adapt, to overcome. We became the impossible species. In the command center, Captain Chen was sharing equally troubling revelations with Admiral Zix's telephone. The Void Hunters aren't just consuming galaxies, she explained, displaying recordings that made the Admiral's crystalline form pale. They're converting all matter and energy into extensions of their consciousness. Entire civilizations transformed into components of their vast neural network. How did humanity resist such power? Zixtel asked, her voice barely a whisper. We didn't, not at first, Chen admitted. We lost Earth, lost billions. But those who escaped carried something the hunters couldn't quantify. Human adaptability, creativity, the stubborn refusal to accept defeat. While they searched the galaxy for us, we hid in the spaces between spaces, learning to harness the quantum principles they used against us. The ship's tactical officer, Lieutenant James Corey, brought up a new hologram-detailed scans of the Void Hunters' approach vectors. They're methodical, expanding in predictable patterns. That's their weakness. They can't comprehend species that act against statistical probability. Humanity's greatest strength is our ability to defy expectations. In the medical bay, another group of Confederate representatives witnessed the full extent of humanity's transformation. Dr. Sarah Way, her neural interfaces more extensive than most, demonstrated the integration of biological and quantum systems that kept the crew alive through centuries of void travel. Our bodies adapted to handle the quantum technologies we developed. she explained, displaying medical scans that showed human physiology merged with systems that should have been impossible. Each generation born in the void exhibited new capabilities. We're still human, but we've become something more, a bridge between conventional existence and quantum potential. The Confederate representatives shared uneasy glances. The humans weren't just refugees seeking aid. They were harbingers of a transformation that would reshape galactic civilization. Their very existence challenged everything the Confederation thought they knew about physics, biology, and the limits of possibility. Back in engineering, Rodriguez was explaining the principles behind their quantum displacement drive when alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. Captain Chen's voice cut through all communication channels. Priority alert. Long-range sensors have detected quantum distortions at the galaxy's edge. The hunters are ahead of schedule. The Phoenix's crew moved with practiced precision, centuries of preparation evident in every action. As the Confederate delegation watched, the impossible ship's systems reconfigured themselves, layers of quantum fields shifting like liquid metal. "This is what we've prepared for," Chen announced, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's long exile. "The Confederation must decide now. Stand with us, learn to wield the technologies we've developed, or watch as your galaxy faces the same fate as Earth." The choice was monumental, but the evidence before them was undeniable. Humanity had transformed itself into something that could challenge gods, and now they offered the Confederation a chance to do the same. The price of refusing would be extinction, but the price of accepting would be evolution into something beyond their current understanding. As the quantum distortions grew stronger, Admiral Zixtel made the decision that would alter the course of galactic history. The Confederation stands with humanity. Teach us everything you know. We face this threat together. Breaking point. The Confederation's Emergency War Council convened as the first wave of quantum distortions reached the outer systems. Holographic displays showed the progressive collapse of space-time boundaries, a preview of the apocalypse the humans had warned them about. 6 colony worlds have already gone dark, Admiral Zixtel reported, her crystalline form pulsing with dark energy patterns. The quantum barriers appear without warning, cutting off all communication and transport, just like Earth. Captain Chen stood before the council, her augmented eyes tracking the distortion patterns. "The hunters are testing your defenses, looking for points of resistance. They're following the same pattern they used against human colonies 3 centuries ago." The council chamber erupted in argument. The Merkthan delegation, representing the warrior clans of the Outer Rim, demanded immediate military action. The Synthetics Collective advocated for mass evacuation to the galactic core. The bioconsensus worlds pushed for surrender and attempted negotiation. "There is no negotiating with the Void Hunters," Lieutenant Corey interrupted, projecting detailed scans of transformed systems. "They don't seek conquest or resources. They consume reality itself, converting all matter and energy into extensions of their neural network. Negotiation implies mutual benefit. They see us only as raw material." The evidence was irrefutable. Worlds touched by the hunters' quantum barriers emerged changed, their very atomic structure rewoven into impossible configurations. Entire civilizations transformed into computational nodes in an ever-expanding cosmic algorithm. "The Phoenix Ascendance technologies can be adapted to your ships," Dr. Rodriguez explained, interfacing directly with the Council's systems. "But the process requires complete re-engineering of your fundamental assumptions about physics. Your crews will need neural augmentation to handle the quantum interfaces." More arguments erupted. The idea of allowing human quantum technology to alter their ships and bodies sparked fierce debate. Conservative factions saw it as an abandonment of their species' identity. Others recognized it as the only path to survival. "We don't have time for philosophical debates," Chen stated, her voice cutting through the chaos. "The hunters will reach your core worlds in less than 30 days. Every moment spent arguing is a moment lost to preparation." The quantum sensors suddenly screamed to life. A massive distortion wave was approaching the Confederation's primary shipyards. The Phoenix Ascendance crew moved instantly, their centuries of preparation evident in every action. This is no longer a test, Chen announced as her ship's quantum drive engaged. They're launching their first major assault. The shipyards contain the resources and computational capacity they need to establish a permanent foothold in this galaxy. Admiral Zixtel made an immediate decision. All ships with completed quantum modifications form up with the Phoenix. The rest evacuate to fallback positions. We protect those shipyards at any cost. The battle that followed would be forever remembered as the moment the galaxy truly understood what humanity had become. The Phoenix Ascendant moved like a creature of myth, bending space and probability around itself. Human quantum technology allowed them to predict and counter the Hunters' attacks before they manifested. But it wasn't enough. For every quantum barrier they collapsed, two more appeared. The Hunters were learning, adapting their strategies against humanity's defenses. The shipyards began to shimmer with the telltale signs of quantum conversion. We need to show them something they've never seen, Chen declared, her neural interfaces pulsing with activity, something that defies their models of probability. Lieutenant Corey, initiate the Lazarus Protocol. The human crew's augmented eyes all flared simultaneously as they interfaced with systems that made the Confederate scientists' instruments shut down in protest. The Phoenix Ascendant began to transform, its quantum fields reshaping reality in ways that challenged comprehension. What we're about to do hasn't been attempted outside of simulations, Chen warned the Confederate ships. Pull back to safe distance. If we fail, you'll need to find another way. Admiral Zixtel watched in awe as the human ship executed a maneuver that should have been impossible. They weren't just fighting the Hunters, they were rewriting the rules of engagement, showing the galaxy that the true power of humanity lay not in their technology, but in their ability to imagine and achieve the impossible. The question was whether imagination alone would be enough to change the course of a war that had already consumed countless galaxies. Quantum Edge. The Phoenix Ascendant hung in space like a wound in reality, its quantum fields distorting the very fabric of space-time. Inside, Captain Chen interfaced directly with the ship's core systems as the Lazarus Protocol reached critical alignment. The Hunters operate on mathematical certainty, she explained to Admiral Zixtel through their quantum link. Their entire existence is based on predictable patterns of universal law. We're about to show them something that shouldn't exist. The ship's quantum core pulsed with impossible energies as 3 centuries of human innovation prepared to challenge entities that consumed galaxies. Dr. Rodriguez's voice echoed through the neural network. Core stability at 400% of theoretical limits. Reality distortion field expanding. The Void Hunters' quantum barriers advanced inexorably toward the shipyards, converting matter and energy into extensions of their vast consciousness. But they hesitated when their sensors detected what the Phoenix was becoming. They're trying to calculate our probability of existence, Lieutenant Corey reported, his augmented systems interpreting the Hunters' quantum signatures. Their models are failing. We're introducing uncertainty into their perfect universe. The Phoenix's transformation reached its apex. The ship no longer existed entirely in normal space. It had become a quantum paradox, simultaneously present and impossible. The human crew, their neural augments blazing with power, guided their vessel through states of reality that the Confederation's scientists couldn't even measure. Now we show them why humanity survived, Chen declared. All Confederate ships with quantum modifications link with our neural network. We're going to teach you how to rewrite probability itself. The combined fleet synchronized with the Phoenix's quantum field, their crews experiencing humanity's perspective for the first time. They saw reality not as a fixed set of laws, but as a canvas of infinite possibility. The Hunters' perfect patterns became visible not as strengths, but as limitations. Target their convergent wavefronts, Chen ordered. Don't try to stop them. Show them something new. Show them chaos, imagination, impossibility. The battle that followed defied conventional description. The human-led fleet didn't just fight the Hunters. They introduced random variables into their mathematical universe. Each ship became a probability anomaly, executing maneuvers that violated the hunters' fundamental assumptions about reality. Dr. Wei's voice cut through the neural network. Their quantum barriers are destabilizing. They can't maintain convergent protocols in the presence of too many paradoxes. Push harder. The Phoenix Ascendant led the charge, its Lazarus protocol creating a cascade of quantum uncertainties. Where the hunters expected order, they found chaos. Where they predicted failure, they encountered success. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their ability to imagine outcomes that their enemies couldn't compute. The shipyard's quantum conversion began to reverse as the hunters' perfect patterns broke down. For the first time in their existence, they encountered a force that didn't just resist their mathematics, it rewrote the equations entirely. We're not just fighting their invasion, Chen transmitted to all ships. We're showing them that their understanding of reality is incomplete. Every impossible thing we do damages their ability to maintain quantum coherence. Admiral Zixtel watched in awe as humanity's legacy of survival transformed into a weapon of creation. The Confederate ships, guided by human quantum interfaces, learned to bend probability itself. Each maneuver, each impossible success, taught the Void Hunters that their perfect universe had limits they had never imagined. 3 centuries in the void taught us that reality is negotiable, Chen declared as the Hunters' quantum barriers began to collapse. Physics is just a conversation between possibility and imagination. And humanity, we never learned when to stop imagining. The shipyards blazed with quantum fire as the combined fleet pushed their advantage. The Hunters' perfect patterns shattered against humanity's controlled chaos, their certainty crumbling in the face of possibility itself. Victory wasn't achieved through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through humanity's unique gift, the ability to believe in the impossible until reality had no choice but to agree. Dawn of Unity. The aftermath of the battle left the Confederation's shipyards bathed in quantum fire. Where the Void Hunters' perfect barriers had threatened total conversion, reality now rippled with new possibilities. The Phoenix Ascendant's quantum core pulsed steadily, maintaining the field of uncertainty that had shattered the Hunters' mathematical certainty. They're retreating, Lieutenant Corey announced, his augmented systems tracking the quantum distortions as they recoiled from Confederate space. Their conversion protocols can't maintain coherence in the presence of too many paradoxes. Captain Chen stood at the command interface, her neural augments still blazing with battle energy. They're not just retreating. They're recalculating. For the first time in their existence, they've encountered something their equations can't predict. The Confederate fleet, their ships now bearing the marks of human quantum technology, formed a defensive perimeter around the shipyards. Admiral Zixtel's crystalline form shimmered with residual quantum energy as she addressed the combined forces. What we witnessed today wasn't just a victory in battle. It was proof that evolution isn't just biological. The humans didn't just survive extinction. They reimagined existence itself. Dr. Rodriguez's voice carried across the quantum network as she interfaced with the shipyard systems. The Hunters' quantum signatures are changing. They're attempting to adapt their mathematical models to account for uncertainty, but they can't quantify imagination. The Phoenix's sensors detected new patterns forming at the galaxy's edge. The Hunters weren't preparing for another assault. They were studying, learning, trying to understand how their perfect universe had been broken by creatures they had dismissed as primitive 3 centuries ago. This is humanity's true gift to the galaxy, Dr. Wei explained as she monitored the quantum readings. Not our technology, not our weapons, but our ability to imagine beyond the boundaries of what's possible. The Hunters created their barriers to contain us, but they became our laboratories. The Confederation's War Council convened aboard the Phoenix, representatives of 100 species gathering to witness the next phase of galactic evolution. The human crew interfaced with the ship's systems, sharing their quantum vision with the assembled leaders. The war isn't over, Captain Chen declared, projecting images of distant galaxies where the Hunters still maintain their perfect patterns. But today we proved they can be fought. Not with conventional weapons or predictable strategies, but with the one force they can't compute, the power of conscious beings to imagine and create the impossible. Admiral Zixtel moved forward, her crystalline form now permanently altered by exposure to human quantum fields. The Confederation extends more than gratitude to humanity. We offer partnership. Your species will no longer wander the void between galaxies. Together, we'll forge a new understanding of reality itself. The Phoenix's quantum core hummed as Captain Chen accepted the offer, her augmented eyes reflecting the possibilities of this new alliance. Humanity had returned from extinction, not as refugees or conquerors, but as teachers, showing the galaxy that the laws of physics were merely the beginning of what was possible. 3 centuries ago, we lost Earth to the hunter's perfect mathematics. Chen addressed the council. Today, we prove that consciousness, creativity, and chaos are more powerful than any equation. The galaxy is no longer bound by what's probable, only by what we can imagine. As the combined fleet prepared to defend against future incursions, the quantum barriers that had once threatened to consume all reality became gateways to new understanding. The humans' long exile had transformed them into bridges between what was and what could be, teachers of a science that went beyond mathematics into the realm of dreams. The dawn of this new era brought with it a fundamental truth. In a universe of perfect patterns and predictable laws, the most powerful force was still the ability to imagine something new. Humanity had not just survived extinction. They had proven that reality itself was simply waiting for someone to show it new possibilities.